just as we were discussing about the emotional barriers, sometimes there are emotions of jealousy or unbroken or broken communication. Sometimes we forget, sometimes there are different kind of emotional reasons which works as emotional barriers in the communication. As you saw in the picture of organizational barriers, now we'll understand all those 4 points. So that will be helpful for you to understand the organizational communication barrier. The first point was saying about the rules and policies which works as barrier. Every organization has some rules, and in fact sometimes those rules and policies work or act as a barrier. Because of those barriers there are some issues. The second point is about the hierarchical positions. Sometimes we are not allowed to cross our channel. There is a proper channel which is used for communication. The third kind of barrier which is in organization is there are different facilities given in any organization, and also sometimes there is no accessibility or facilities given to the some team or some level. There are sometimes it happens that a person needs to access those facilities, but that acts as a barrier because of some rules or some other issues. The next is complex and organizational structure of the company. When the company has too many structure and too many complexity, like who to apply and who to talk to solve the query, so that sometimes acts as a organizational structural barrier. Let us now discuss and understand the personal barrier. We have already discussed different kinds of barriers in communication. So now we are talking about the personal barriers of communication. Take any example, like any work, and in any organization we have different levels, and we have to tell some work to our subordinate, but we have lost the faith. So that faith is important. When we have less faith on subordinate, that is a kind of personal barrier. Second kind of barrier is fear of challenge of the authority of the senior person. He or she may scold me, or so I should not contact the person. In case I make any mistake, then I have fear that I will be scolded, so I should not tell to the senior person. So similarly, like in a school or any office, in any exam, if a learner or a student makes any mistake, then there is a hesitation that if I tell to the teacher or to the other person, then he or she may scold me. Because of some rules and policies, there are fears. The third kind of barrier, which is personal barrier, is incentives. As we discussed about the incentive, sign of incentive, sometimes there is incentives are less, or we can say it's not given to the person. So, lack of incentive, that is also sometimes acting as a personal barrier. In case we don't have incentive, then we are not interested to continue work or communicate, and the reason could be because there is no incentive, incentive is less, so I am not interested, or I do not want to communicate, or I do not want to work. So, that is a kind of barrier which is a personal barrier. Now, as you saw in this image, there are some barriers, and how to overcome the barriers of communication and challenges, different psychological barriers, and all those challenges in the communication. How should we solve? Just have a look at this picture. Just as you saw these points, so the first point, second point and third point, they will make you understand the different barriers. The first point explains that we should consult the other person, maybe boss or maybe our staff or colleague, before communicating to the right person. So, we should consult our colleague. That is the one best way to solve the communication problem. The second point says, sometimes there are people who want to receive some information. Just take an example of communication. A person who is deaf, I don't know sign language, and a person who is blind, he cannot see. So, what is the need of the receiver? I would call the interpreter, or I myself will learn the need of the blind person so that I can communicate with the blind person. So, need of the receiver is important to solve this communication barrier. The third point is, there are different people communicating in our workplace. Just take example of any place, NGO or any work. This video, like I am doing signing, and also voiceover is given. So, just to clarify the idea before communicating, that is important. It also solves if in case there is any communication barrier. The fourth point says about the proper feedback. For example, I am a person, I am signing, and there is a proper voiceover given. So, we give feedback to each other and communicate and discuss for better coordination to solve any problem. In case there is no discussion, then there will be barriers or some issues. Similarly, in any company, feedback is important, and proper feedback should be given for smooth functioning, smooth communication. The fifth point explains the communication should be like a follow-up communication. Like if I am suggesting something and the other person is suggesting something, then there should be an open communication, and it should be like a follow-up. If the problem is not solved and there is no open discussion, there is any doubt or any query, and if it is not open, then the problem cannot be solved. So this is important, that is a follow-up communication for better coordination. The sixth point explains the use of informal channel, like we all have friend circle and we all have general people we talk with, like family, friends, we discuss with them. So that is important. Just now you saw the image of supervision. Take example of any school, the teacher, the principal watches learner and the students. In an office, the senior person, the manager watches and supervises the subordinates. So what do they do? That the supervisors, that is supervision. Now we will understand the importance of supervision. Like in communication, there are some barriers and we remove them, then our communication can become better. Is it possible that I communicate myself alone and I work alone? So similarly, communication requires two people and we interact with each other, so that is important. Similarly, supervision, it improves our communication. And also, the leadership quality also gets improved. So supervision is important to improve the quality of leadership. In any school, in any government organization, we give information to the subordinate or to the teamwork, and also we respect each other. There is a coordination and good behavior atmosphere. The next point, which says that it also improves the group team work. If there is no group and we are not supporting each other, we are not discussing openly, then this supervision could not be possible. So the supervision is important as it improves the unity of the group. The fourth point says that we must be motivated to achieve our goal. So the supervision is important as the people working in the team, they get motivated, and if they are motivated, then they can achieve any work or any goal. And in case they are scolded, then they won't be able to achieve the work they are doing. So leadership and supervision, that is important, which makes the people motivated. Just as we understood the meaning of supervisor and supervision, so we will further understand few more points to explain and to understand this. So there are different functions of supervisors. The first can be considered as the supervisor motivates people. There are different kinds of team members, they have different work habit, different kinds of motivation. Some people are working very good, some people are not so good, so the leader, the supervisor should support every person, every team member. So can say that supervisor motivates. So can say the supervisor motivates the worker, and the people, when they are motivated, they can work really well. So that is a good way, and that is the responsibility of the supervisor to motivate all the workers. The second point was to work as a role model. The supervisor should be a role model for all the people working under him or under his or her team. If the person is behaving good and motivating all people, any work he is doing, he is presenting, he is just like a role model, and the other team member would copy and do the same. The third point, which is very important, that when there are many people involved in a teamwork, and the leader should solve the query of all the team members. He should listen and coordinate with the team member and solve their queries. The fourth point, which says communication in a team member is important, and if there is any serious problem or serious issue, then the leader or supervisor should communicate the feelings and problems of the team member to the top management. The fifth point, which explains that if there is any mistake in the work or any performance, then leadership can take the lead and control and do the necessary work. The sixth point, which comes under the function of supervisor, is if a person is really working hard and doing excellent performance, and he sees that there are some person who are slow, but there is someone who is extraordinarily doing well and really working as a role model, then that person should be promoted, and there should be some incremental motivation in form of money or pay increase should be given to improve their work. So just now you saw this picture of motivation. This is about people, when they are motivated, they work really well. This image you saw, it means when people are motivated, then motivation is really important for achieving our goals, and also it helps us a person of a good attitude. And if our attitude is good and we are achieving our goals, then people can see us as a successful person. We are supporting others. If a person who is our colleague, we are supporting, he is supporting, and we all are doing support. We are all supporting each other. And also our performance increases. Let's now understand how to motivate. Let's take example, if we are doing good and we are happy, we want to make other people motivated. We just want to get success with different kinds of work by giving award, by giving medals and different labels to them. In this picture, you saw there are different needs. There are some personal needs which are known as physiological needs, like we need food, we need space to live, and also the next need, that is about the job, the safety, these are known as our emotional needs. And there is another emotional need, that is the need of love, the need of belonging. We are really working good and we are proud of ourselves. So, these are the three needs, and the next need, which is very important, that is esteemed needs and also the self realization. In this picture, we understood about the financial incentives. Just take example, if I am working really hard and the boss is really appreciating me and gives me some reward in form of some transportation or different materialistic things, like he gives me free air tickets for some journey. So, there are different kinds of incentives which can be given to the staff people. And also there are some non-financial incentives, like you can appreciate, you can make them a good role model among their team members. And this is about the leadership. If a person is a good leader, the other team members really copy them. So, thank you so much. Thank you.